Hi, this is DrClyde. We're now on step 5 of 6 of optimizing your metabolic flow. In this step, we look at stress and sleep and how they contribute to metabolism. All the cells in your body undergo an equivalent of sleep, where their activity level goes down so that the cell can focus on DNA gene expression to create RNA, which is gene copies. That RNA, when you're awake and nutrients are coming in, will accelerate protein production that serves as the first step to the vitality of your cells, maintaining themselves. So the foundation is DNA gene expression, which the cell can emphasize during an equivalent of sleep, and then come the benefits of what we think of as movement and nutrition. And from the cell's perspective, it's just asking the question, what nourishment is available to now take advantage of the DNA that I have in my nucleus. So here you can see after a stress, the stressors are listed on the right-hand side of the slide, that cell activity levels will go down and the equivalent of sleep is going up so that they can heal from whatever that stressor is. That might be your normal wear and tear of getting through a busy day. It might be exercise. It might be an injury or a minor surgery that you're trying to heal from. And the next question is, what allows our cells to sleep so that they're able to provide that DNA gene expression that is the foundation of our metabolism? And the answer is to give them a chance to not be stressed by something. So in this paper, in the Journal of Biology and Medicine, 2012, on circadian clocks of our cells, they discuss how eating late keeps your gastrointestinal system from sleeping. Exercising at a very high intensity keeps your neuromuscular system, peripheral nerves, and your skeletal muscles from sleeping. High psychological stress right up to the last minute before you go to bed, that keeps parts of your brain from sleeping as well. So whatever system is stressed beyond a threshold shortly before sleep will inhibit that organ system from sleeping as deeply than the rest of your body. So in this Nature paper that reviews this process, they look at the circadian topology of metabolism and the fact that your different organ systems, brain, muscle, adipose, liver, heart, pancreas, etc., they have their own sleep cycles where they are laying the foundation for their vitality through DNA gene expression, but they're attempted to be coordinated like a conductor of an orchestra by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the SCN of your brain, this almond-sized ganglion that is trying to coordinate the sleep for your whole body, maintain your general circadian rhythm. But if you eat late, have hard exercise late, psychological stress really late, that will pull part of that organ system out of that circadian rhythm. And you end up with this jumble that you see in the red box, instead of this fluid overlap of circadian rhythm where they're being coordinated, like you see in the upper right. So deranging the circadian rhythm for one organ system by stressing it shortly before sleep will inhibit that from having the same rate of gene expression and vitality, and it can therefore become the part of your body or the part of your metabolic flow or your engine that is limiting all of the rest. In this cartoon, in this Nature paper of this mini review, they show how in sleep there's an increase in the copying of DNA genes into RNA, and then by day, when nutrients are more available, that's used as the platform for generating new protein using the energy of fats and carbohydrate. So your body flip-flops back and forth between an emphasis on gene expression and then when nutrients are being provided from your food, using that platform to generate new molecules to maintain cellular health and therefore your health. Another thing that sleep does from a metabolic perspective is, in particular the deepest sleep, is that it enables the astrocytes, which are a type of brain cell, to expand and contract to have a cerebral flow of fluid in and out as a pumping action to clear out metabolic waste. The spacing between your neurons is very small so that they can signal each other fast enough to maintain consciousness and for optimum function. So there's not enough room for your lymph system to come in and clear out waste as there is in the rest of your body. That is why your body depends on deep quality sleep to undergo this pumping action to make up for that fact. It's the only way that the brain can clear out get out of the way the metabolic waste buildup of while you're awake. And so they show in this paper that when you're awake, the waste is not being cleared out very quickly at all, and that during sleep and in anesthesia, that's the green and the red bars here, that there's a dramatic increase in the clearance of metabolic waste. And adrenaline deranges that. So if you have high adrenaline from psychological stress or from hard exercise right before you go to sleep, that adrenaline level will keep you from deep sleep and keep you from clearing out that metabolic waste. And to the same extent as if you were awake. So being asleep and counting how many hours you're sleeping is not enough. It's your waking restfulness that gives you a sense of how deep your sleep is. And this pumping action in your brain to clear out those plaques that contributes to dementia is like a power wash, like what you're seeing these firefighters on an aircraft carrier. I served on the USS Carl Vinson for 6 years, was one of the highlights of my life. I love that. And in this follow-up paper, the researchers showed how the volume of your gray matter and of the ventricle, the space that has the fluid moving in and out to clear out the waste, is alternating back and forth as your astrocytes shrink and swell in a coordinated way to clear out that metabolic accumulation. Well, what can you do nutritionally for that? A strong, stable blood sugar. In this study, they show that the deep, slow wave sleep duration is doubled with a strong, stable blood sugar, and that it takes half the time to get into that deep sleep, and you even increase your REM sleep when you have a strong, stable blood sugar. Well, what would give you a strong, stable blood sugar? Pizza with a salad that slows down its digestion, not just fun food that digests fast. On the flip side of that, if you're only having the salad, then there's not enough carbohydrate fuel, and you also end up with a low blood sugar. So ironically, what you might have thought of as the healthiest meal and the worst meal both can give you a low blood sugar. One, because there's not enough fuel in it to begin with, and the other because the insulin roller coaster is going to drop you to less than if you had eaten nothing at all. I call it the anti-eating effect. So clearly, these levers are interacting with each other. This is why small adjustments can have such profound and large benefits to your metabolic rate. Let's say you move your eating 2 hours earlier. More nutrition gets to your lean tissue while they're absorbing it faster, and you get deeper sleep. So now you have a lower stress response to stressors the next day. 3 levers are impacted all at the same time, and your energy's greater, so that now you go for a walk instead of just sitting for a half hour before you watch a movie the next day, so your movement level goes up. So all 4 levers are now in the fold just because you moved your late eating an hour or 2 earlier and had some water afterwards to facilitate digestion. This is just one of many examples of how our levers interact, so that one small change can have a profound effect on all 4 of them to dramatically raise your metabolism just with some small intervention. Now, what if you can't have the dinner earlier? Well, then have a healthy snack earlier so that your dinner size can be reduced. There's many ways to fix your metabolic flow. Allow your system to support who you are and how you live and how you want to live, not the other way around. Fix what you're doing. Don't change what you're doing. Fix what you're doing. Stay who you are. Okay, so just looking at the stress component, this is a paper where they used machine learning to pull in what has been learned from several thousand papers on psychological stress and how it impacts immunity and metabolism. And what they found is that with recurrent bouts of psychological stress in life, that our inflammation ratchets up sequentially and that our metabolism ratchets down, increasing the risk of metabolic disease and increasing body fat. So what can we do, and obesity risk. So what can we do in terms of managing our psychological response? Well, here's a paper that looks at meditation and compares it to other methods of psychological stress management. And what they find is that across the board, regardless of how you're measuring our psychological state, that meditation helps that, but in comparison with autogenic training, behavioral changes, there's no difference. So regardless of what you're doing to reduce the hormonal stress response to the inevitable stressors of your life, not doing anything is a mistake. And regardless of what you're doing, it's going to benefit you as long as it matches who you are, whether that's behavioral change, and visualization. You're in a field of flowers, you're visualizing your breath and the different parts of your body. So autonomic training, going for a walk, regardless of what it is, or changing the time of what you're doing things. This paper, they discuss interventions for raising metabolism and how stress and your circadian clock interact, and that just changing when in the day something is happening, that can dramatically improve how you respond to it in terms of your stress response. Quick side story, I had a friend who, someone in their family passed, and they talked to their family members overseas, and it always ended up being late at night for them, but they never were able to sleep afterwards. So when they compromised on the timing so that it was a little earlier in the day, so that they could recover from that inevitable and critically important morning together, then they were able to sleep better just because they had shifted the time by a few hours. The same as shifting when you're eating by a few hours, or separating out the timing so that it's not as large an amount of any one of these stressors at any one time. So sometimes it's not an intervention per se, but just thinking about how you're coordinating things with the other aspects of your life. So that reduction in stress hormone response, by just thinking about how to engineer or manage the inevitable stresses of life and important stressors of life, will reduce how much of a reduction or destruction of your engine that's driving your metabolic rate will occur, and will inherently improve the quality of your sleep so that you have a stronger foundation for your engine, for your metabolic rate. That brings us to step 6.